Hey everybody, what's going on? It's Monday morning, which means it's time for another Guns N' Roses news update. So let's talk about this week's news. So if you guys remember, November of 2016, Kirk Hammett was doing an interview to promote Metallica's new album, and the topic of Guns N' Roses came up, and he basically had this to say. He said, "Have Guns N' Roses become a nostalgia act?" Metallica guitarist Kirk Hammett thinks so, and he believes the current state of GNR is kind of sad, in his own words. So in an interview he did with the LA Times, Kirk Hammett spoke about Guns N' Roses' reunion tour. He said, "Unfortunately, they've turned into somewhat of a nostalgia act, which to me is kind of sad," Hammett said. As for the importance of writing new material, James Hetfield shared, "I don't want to think we're trying to stay young by writing new stuff, but it makes us feel relevant. It makes us feel like we're still progressing." Now, Kirk Hammett caught some flack for his comments, and he was recently interviewed on a rock radio station, and he clarified his comments about Guns N' Roses and actually showed his support for the band and just clarified that he wanted them to just record a new album like a lot of us want them to do, because they've been on this never-ending tour. They've announced a bunch of new tour dates that I don't think anybody even expected, and we'll get to that in a bit. But here's what Kirk Hammett had to say.
Where you guys have played before, at the end of July. Here you are playing Busch Stadium. It's very weird for St. Louis to have the both of you play in town within 2 months of one another, considering that tour, how it fell apart and everything. It's just kind of weird.
It is kind of weird. It's kind of like 1993 all over again. You know, I'm glad that they're out there doing it. You know, I know that at one point they got a little bit miffed when I called them, you know, a retro act or whatever. But you know, I didn't mean it that way. I just want them to make an album, and I'm glad that they're back to, you know, being the band that we all knew that they were being, or you know, a close, you know, pretty close version of it. And I'm glad that Axl and Slash are together. That's a great thing, because you know, they're a good combination.
What was it like between all of you guys, though, back then? Were you friends at one point?
We were friendly.
And then it stopped?
We were friendly. I mean, you know, it's just like, it's as friendly as two big bands who are like two big rivals. You
two
know.
Big egos.
Yeah, you know, could be. I mean, you know, there's going to be a little bit of like give and take, you know, push and pull, you know, love and hate in all that. But in retrospect, you know, I think Slash is a diamond geezer. You know, he's into horror movies and, all the same stuff that I'm into. Right. And I didn't even know it at the time. If I would have known that at the time, I think Slash and I would have had a completely different relationship. And you know, I think he's a great guitar player, and he, you know, he's doing a lot just to keep the enthusiasm of guitar alive, which I really appreciate. And you know, I'm glad that they're back together and doing stuff, and I'd love to hear some new material.
We'll see. You never know.
Kirk Hammett isn't the only member to voice his opinion about the Guns N' Roses reunion, or just about Guns N' Roses in general. So back in late May, Jason Newsted was actually interviewed by Loudwire, and he talked about what Guns N' Roses taught him not to do. So he was talking about the tour they did with Guns back in '92. He said, "We chose to play first, of course, because we wanted to play on time." Newsted remembers, "If we were going on at 8:01, we're on at 8:01. That's the way it's always been. That's why Metallica is still touring and crushing everybody and selling more records. Guns N' Roses showed me what I never want to become," Newsted says. "Antics, pissing away money, disrespecting people that you work for, looking down on the people who look up to you. Worst thing you can do, especially in this business. I saw them do that a lot, and I didn't like it." Summing up Guns N' Roses' career, Newsted claimed, "As a band, they were powerful for about 3.5 years and really had their sharp teeth, and after that, everything fell apart." Now, after the Apollo show, Guns N' Roses had an announcement to make that I think a lot of people, well, at least myself, didn't really expect. So they've announced some more fall tour dates. So they included new dates, including second shows at Toronto's Air Canada Centre and Los Angeles as the Forum, and a third date they're going to be playing in Madison Square Garden. And then, of course, the openers that are going to be included also include the Deftones, Sturgill Simpson, ZZ Top, Live, and Our Lady Peace. There's a total of 11 new tour dates they've announced. If you guys go to their website, you guys can check them out. There's some markets that they previously haven't announced as well. So if you guys go to Guns N' Roses' website, you can see the full list of tour dates there. I'm kind of surprised they're not giving Axl's voice more of a rest, but according to the trailer they put out, they said it's due to popular demand they're adding these shows. And you know, they're going to make a killing this fall. You know, by the time this whole fall tour is said and done, I wouldn't be surprised if Guns N' Roses maybe call it quits on the touring. just because, I don't think Axl needs to tour anymore, but that's just my opinion. I mean, who knows? Anything can happen with this band. We never expected them to even reunite with Duff and Slash and Axl. With Guns N' Roses playing the Apollo this past week, there was a lot of Appetite for Destruction coverage. So I just want to highlight some of my favorite stuff I saw. Loudwire did an untold story of the Rock's Most Dangerous album. They interviewed Corey Taylor as well as a bunch of other musicians. So I've linked to that down below for you guys to go check out. There's also an amazing piece that was written by LA Weekly about Guns N' Roses, and they talked about Appetite for Destruction. In fact, I think I saw Gilby tweet it out, but it's not by Art Tavanna, but it's about some of the lesser-known songwriters on the album, and it's just a fantastic piece. It talks a lot about Wes Arkeen. Really recommend you guys go read it. I enjoyed the article a lot. Now, there's also another great piece. This one's written by Art Tavanna, who's done just some amazing reporting on Guns N' Roses. So he was actually able to sit down with Tom Zutaut, who was the A&R rep from Geffen, who actually discovered Guns N' Roses. And Tom Zutaut gets a ton of requests. He said he's got 100 journalists from all over the world who've reached out to him, and he's declined every single one of them, barring a writer from France and I think Art Tavanna. So he did an interview with Tom Zutaut, and they talked all about Appetite. He showed off some of the memorabilia he has from Guns N' Roses. And, what were some of the decisions that the record company made back in the day with Guns N' Roses when they were first coming up. And it's a really fascinating interview, and I've linked to it down below for you guys to check out. If you guys really can't get enough of the Appetite for Destruction coverage, go check it out. And go check out my True Story episodes I did about Appetite for Destruction. There's 2 episodes. The first one deals more with pre-production, and the second one deals more with the recording of the actual album. Now, there's also a video. I want to thank Tim for sending me this. Axl was out clubbing. I think it was probably the night that they did the actual Apollo show. And there was some paparazzi filming him. He gets into the wrong car, and then he gets a little pissed off at the paparazzi for, heckling him and basically just following him around wherever he's going. So I don't really blame him for getting pissed off. Those paparazzi guys seem like they're annoying as hell. So there's a video I've linked to down below if you guys want to see it. It was also Slash's birthday yesterday, so Slash just turned 52 years old. So he's one of the younger guys from Guns N' Roses. Axl's, I think, 55. Duff's around 54, I think. And I think Megan posted a video of Slash, or maybe Slash posted himself. There's a video of him just, riding around on a new bike. As you guys know, Slash used to do BMX professionally back before he really got into guitar. Then we've got a really strange Guns N' Roses piece of news. So Spotify is being sued for Guns N' Roses' Willie Nelson and Miranda Lambert songs. So 2 independent music publishers filed separate lawsuits Tuesday in Nashville against streaming giant Spotify for failing to obtain the appropriate licenses to thousands of songs. So the plaintiffs in the lawsuit are Blue Water Music Services, which is a Nashville-based publisher and a music catalog administrator, as well as a publisher and songwriter for the band Frankie Valli and the Four Seasons. So amongst the songs that Blue Water says Spotify did not license properly are Miranda Lambert's Gunpowder and Lead and White Liar, Willie Nelson's Living in the Promised Land, Kenny Chesney's Better as a Memory, and Anything But Mine, and the Guns N' Roses song Yesterday. So the publisher claims that Spotify didn't follow proper protocol to obtain compulsory licenses for the compositions, and therefore has been streaming the songs illegally, an argument used in other streaming lawsuits. Spotify, at the time of this story, has actually declined to comment. And it's strange, if you guys go on YouTube and you search Yesterday's Guns N' Roses, you typically think you would find the Vivo page where the video is probably hosted, but the Vivo page for Guns N' Roses doesn't have Yesterday's on it or The Garden, which I really don't understand why that is. Maybe it's a licensing issue, or maybe the Vivo page maybe they just forgot about the songs or something. I've always wondered that. So if you guys go search Yesterday's, you'll find some random guy who just posted it years ago, and that's the main video you find on YouTube when you search Yesterday's by Guns N' Roses. We also had an interview with the band that opened for Guns N' Roses at their Tel Aviv show, which was the last show as part of their European leg of the tour. So they actually interviewed the supporting act, which was an Israeli band, Secret Saints. And funny enough, it was actually their first show that they ever played was opening for Guns N' Roses. He said it was an incredible day, said the Secret Saints singer, Tal Shakar. He said, you feel like you're in a movie you imagine inside your head when you're just starting out. It was perfect. So for Tal and his band, guitarist Chen Balbus, drummer Jonathan Alter, bassist Del Campbell, and guitarist Raphael Cohen, the July 15th gig will remain long in memory. Not just because they played their first gig, but because they were opening for Guns N' Roses in front of 65,000 fans in. So basically the way the band actually got an opening slot, basically when Guns N' Roses were announced they were coming to Israel, they immediately sent their music and essentials to the production company. They then sent off our things to Guns N' Roses management in Los Angeles, and they gave us the opportunity and the biggest honor of our lifetime. We've also got some news about the unsung hero of Guns N' Roses. So we've got some news about Dizzy Reed. So according to the Industry Observer, Golden Robot Records has actually added Dizzy Reed to their roster, including Rose Tattoo, the Super Jesus, and the band My Sex. So the Guns N' Roses band member is set to release his long-awaited solo album through Golden Robot. It features players from Thin Lizzy, Wasp, Psychedelic Furs, and fellow Gunners members. So here's the statement that the actual record company had to say. So concentrating on our global expansion with the addition of internationals to the label, we're very excited to have an artist of Dizzy Reed's caliber join us. Basically, he's not only the prominent force in Guns N' Roses for over 25 years, he's also a well-respected solo artist in his own right. So that does it for this week's Guns N' Roses news, guys. Let me know your thoughts. Comment down below in the comment section. Hit the like button if you enjoyed the content of this video. And be sure to subscribe if you love Guns N' Roses as much as I do and you'd like to see more videos just like this. And you guys can go support me on Patreon and follow me on Twitter and Facebook. The links to my channels are down below. Take care.